What is the language of love looking like today?
Very complicated.
A successful author, today community builder, influencer, and so much more. Okay, this is one conversation you're really gonna love. Ravinder, welcome to Let's Chat with GB. People are getting more and more financially successful, but when it comes to that personal connect, those relationships, that account is quite bankrupted at this time.
That is true. Suddenly, it's about I, me, myself a lot more than we, us, ourselves.
Do you actually believe that in today's time, the institution of marriage is not necessary anymore?
People are questioning the logic of this.
COVID actually changed, what relationships and love really look like.
It made people realize the importance of relationship.
Loneliness is dash.
The new pandemic.
Today on Let's Chat with GB, we have someone who started out as an IT professional, then a very, very successful author, today community builder, influencer, and so much more. Okay, this is one conversation you're really going to love. Ravinder, welcome to Let's Chat with GB.
Thank you so much.
So someone who has been defined as, writing and rewriting the language of love. What is the language of love looking like today? 2026, the world of AI. What is the language of love looking like today?
Very complicated. It's another LLM model right now.
So true.
You need to learn and relearn. And what's making it complicated and exciting? Exciting for me, somebody who analyzes things, relationships, is that it's easy to fall in love.
Right.
It's difficult to stay in love.
So true. So true.
That is what has changed and is changing.
Yeah. Very profound. And I think, the more successful, people are getting, you doing, of course, so much with Let's Socialize and, entrepreneur community, the working professional community, a lot of youngsters, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I guess you're seeing this, right? Like people are getting more and more financially successful. But when it comes to, that personal connect, those relationships, that account is quite bankrupted at this time.
That is true. That is true. Suddenly, it's about I, me, myself, a lot more than we, us, ourselves.
Right.
One reason has been we are all talking about become independent.
Right.
Remove the dependency on the other person.
Right.
Everybody is trying to, both genders.
Yep.
The dependencies that existed a decade back are no more there. The reasons, like yesterday only I posted a reel and I mentioned that the reason to be in a marriage is no more the dependency. I'm talking about the modern couple.
Right.
Living in cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, NCR. I'm not talking about tier 2, tier 3.
Right.
Over there, the dependency is still there.
Right.
Okay. Because this dependency is gone, what is going to hold that relationship together is only one thing, which is value.
Right.
What value do I bring to her? What value does she bring to me? Is going to decide why we should be thick and together.
Right.
Elements like attractions were never talked about 2 decades back.
Yeah.
जब arranged marriages हो रही थी.
Right.
The idea was economical stability.
So true.
Nobody said, he's not handsome or she's not good looking at a level we're in today, because our needs are fulfilled.
Right.
So our wants are taking the front seat now.
Yeah.
And people have to adjust to this new normal wherein both of you are independent. The man also can cook. He's perhaps living abroad. If not cooked, there is a Zomato order coming. He knows how to get this thing done.
Right.
Bahar jaake khaye bina. The woman also knows how to earn my money. And if we can be on our own, why do we live with the shortcomings of this relationship if there are any? Earlier, I had a reason to ignore them because I'm dependent. Now the reason has been taken away. And this is not a good or bad thing.
Right.
I'm saying this as somebody who notices things.
Right.
It would be seen as a bad thing when you look at it from the lens of I am somebody who is a brand endorser of, marriages in India.
Right.
And that ship is, sinking.
Yeah.
Now you would say it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing for the institution of marriage. May not be a bad thing for these two people, how you look at it.
Agreed.
It may be a great thing for somebody who says, instead of being suffocated in this relationship, I now have an option to get out of this relationship.
Sure.
Now the other person is seeing divorce as a good thing. It brings them the freedom.
Right.
But the person who's the flag bearer of the institution of marriage would say this is a bad thing.
Do you actually believe that in today's time, the institution of marriage is, well, I won't say dying, but just the value, especially in, and like you mentioned, the top tier cities, the metros, people believe it's not necessary anymore. So are you beginning to see that a lot more as well?
Yeah, I am. People are questioning the logic of this.
Right.
The institution of marriage was much needed at a time. Perhaps it's still needed in tier 2, tier 3 to make things work. It came into existence for a larger good. But do we need that good today? Has the institute outlived a certain era and perhaps is not needed unless and until something changes?
Right.
It's going to be super difficult for this to survive.
Really?
Now, people say we are following the West. My point is, forget West, East. The moment two people are independent, they will say, I am not going to compromise on certain things.
Yeah.
And which is where I say that all of these values like love is super important. Respect is super important. How you not take your partner for granted is super important.
Agreed.
Because these are the glues which are going to hold on
together
to that person. It's not about I need marriage. It's about I want you.
Yeah.
That is the thing. And I want you with a condition that I am not going to put a boundary of marriage around you. The day you are done with me, you rather leave than bearing the weight of this relationship. Because if you see, love demands reciprocity.
Oh, 100%.
If one person is done with that relationship, no matter how much the other person wants, that relationship will struggle badly. Yeah. And perhaps you are better off being alone than being lonely in a relationship.
Right. And to give context, of course, when you wrote your first book, 2006,
7, 8.
and you kind of started researching and you said you hadn't even read prior to that. So 2008, I think, is when the first book actually came out. Today, sold over 1 million copies. Prior to that, and you said 2006 and prior, you weren't even a reader. You weren't, much into the literary world at all. What flipped that switch?
Tragedy. I am a hardcore romantic, die-hard. When I did not even know the meaning of being a die-hard romantic, I was that much in love. I still believe in the school of love.
Right.
A lot more than the school of marriage.
Okay.
I believe two people in love are far superior than two people in marriage. Two people in marriage and in love are perhaps superior than
Priceless,
this. It's a dream world to be in. Yeah. And the problem is that today we are in love with somebody else, but in relationship with somebody else, and that is a whole complicated story that we are trying to build. And I've always said that lucky are those who are in relationship as well as in love with each other.
Yeah.
But coming back to your question, tragedy unfolded. I was 26. For the very first time, was in love with a girl, and so much so that it was a long-distance relationship. We had hardly been with each other for less than 24 hours. 8 months of courtship period. She was in Faridabad, I was in Bhubaneswar.
Right.
We made our parents meet. It was such a die-hard love. The entire relationship was built on smartphones or Orkut and this era of being digitally connected. So the week of our engagement, unfortunately, her car met with an accident, and she was there for 2 weeks in hospital, and then she passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it all happened in the same time period wherein we were supposed to be engaged. So families, friends who visited us were now visiting us for a whole different reason altogether. The entire idea of marriage, from there to the idea of funeral in the same Gurudwara. It was heartbreaking. For me, at 26, I didn't know how to deal with this. It was my lowest low of my life. So I kept crying myself to sleep for 3 months. I remember my cushion, my pillow covers would go to the wash the next day because I feared my mom would see them and would feel extremely bad, extremely low. So once I decided that this can't go on and on, I have to pull a shot. And for me, the way to deal with pain is to let it out, express.
Right.
I started penning down my love story because I wanted to relive it once again.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, it was so dear to me that I wanted to leave this story in the world even when I'm gone. That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Much later, somebody told me, I was in Bangalore and one of the organizers, she was announcing, and then she announced this, while announcing my name, she used this term called catharsis. And I looked up and I said, exactly, this is what I was going through. That I let it out. It was my need to share my pain. That was the only way I could reduce it. So yeah, it's an outcome of me writing my love story and sharing it with the world. And once it was done, I felt much lighter at heart. I felt that every time somebody was picking this book from the shelf of a Crossword or an Oxford and was reading it, perhaps they, in their own way, were trying to heal me. And the fact that she's alive in those pages somewhere, every time somebody is reading about her birthday, they used to come on the Orkut, they used to come on Facebook, and now they come on Instagram and wish her a birthday. So in a way, I've tried to keep as much as of her alive and my love story alive in this book. So that was the whole idea.
And for our viewers, the book is I Too Had a Love Story, right? So this is it, and by Ravinder, and of course you have a trilogy. So that's the second part, and the third part, recently came out, and we'd love to talk about that, in due course as well. So when we talk about catharsis, is it something that you'd recommend to people? That a lot of people keep a lot of things within, right? And then sometimes it just boils over and explodes like a volcano. In your personal experience, is this something that you'd recommend to people that they should let things out, even if it's not like writing a book, but at least keeping a journal or just putting their thoughts down on paper? Do you think that makes a lot of sense for people?
It does make a lot of sense for me. And I believe it would make a lot of sense for so many others. At the same time, I would say grief is a very personal affair.
Right.
I may not be able to prescribe you the dose which is going to help you.
Right.
You have to figure it out. I figured this out.
Yeah.
Has it helped me? Yes. If I were to guide you, navigate you, I would say this. At the same time, I may say that it depends on the kind of person you are. So many people are not wired that way.
Great.
I am wired that way. People used to tell me, look at your guts. You happen to share the lowest low of your life with the world.
Right.
And I'm saying, don't make it about my guts. It was my need.
Right.
Had it been about my guts, I would have said, I was going through so much and I didn't utter a single word. That would have been my guts and perhaps my stupidity. I mean, I don't want to take credit where it's not due.
Of course.
It was my need, much needed thing. I am somebody who's wired this way that I will let out everything and I feel lighter, at peace, at calm. I don't think that there is anything or any sort of pain that I should shy away from or be embarrassed or feel guilty to share about.
Right.
Even if it's a mistake that I would have made, I would feel lighter at confessing it, as I did this.
Yeah.
I stole that money from somebody on that day. I regret it. I genuinely. You do so when you're not doing for some other good.
Right.
That's a whole different level of gameplay that you do.
Right.
You do this for one reason, that I have realized this and I'm doing this with all my heart.
Yeah.
And then you will figure out that there is nothing that you can say which somebody else wouldn't have done or experienced. There is nothing new that I can do on this planet which was never done, or somebody has gone through that grief. I'm not the first person.
Correct.
I'm not the first heartbroken person. The moment you go out and confess, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And then you will find there are people connecting
with that.
People feel, oh my God, he said the same thing what I am going through.
Right.
And then you become their unspoken leader. They look up to you. I'm telling people that, become this person. Sometimes a great way to heal yourself is to heal others. And I know all of this sounds very profound, but I would rather do this even selfishly. I would rather make 5 people happy for no reason.
Yeah.
I would hold the door for my security guard. And then he said, sir, ab jao. I said, today you go. And look at that smile on his face. Sure. Nobody treated him that way.
No.
Do this. Yeah. Do this selflessly. Do this. Write it down that I have to make at least, this week 5 people happy. And the fact that you helped somebody gives you immense happiness. Yeah. That's how you can live in today's tech-savvy AI world, which is very complicated.
So true.
These little gestures, they make you feel you're human.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think you're one guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, right? I mean, across all your communities that you have online, offline. I think there's one thing that I've heard is that here is one person who comes in with a lot of authenticity. With the right intention and integrity and all the things that are lacking in today's world. So I think hats off to you there as well. So tell me about the book publishing journey. It couldn't have been easy, when you had written this, and it was obviously inspired by true events and meant so much to you. What was it like when you actually started approaching publishers to actually go ahead and get this done? Because I know for authors that's a big hurdle.
Yeah. No. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. Sure. Because it's a whole lot of sine curve journey for me. Right. Now, also keep this in mind that this 26 years old guy is not somebody who lives in Delhi. He is not somebody who speaks English language the way I speak today. He has spent his life in a very small town of the state called Odisha, and the name of this town is Burla, where his education and English language per se, the way it was taught to him is the pronunciation of pronunciation is pronunciation. That's how you have been taught. It was never a banyan tree. It was banyan tree. Yeah. This person is writing to the leading publishing houses of the country. Yeah. He has a whole different background altogether. Half of them, and this is the time where internet has not exploded.
Right.
We are still submitting manuscripts on an A4 size printout. Printers are available in offices or in some shops.
Right.
You still go to internet cafe to write that email, Yahoo chat, yahoo.com. And information about publishers, they still do not have websites. Not everybody has it. So you go to a bookstore in Bhubaneswar, pick up random books because you are not even a reader. You don't even know. You have heard just 1 or 2 names. And then you look at the spine of the book and then you say, oh, there is this logo. There's a penguin. Okay, let me write penguin. Right. Which one is the HarperCollins? Okay, this is Rupa. Okay, all of this. Ho gaya. Thus publishers, I have to write. Half of them, they don't even have a website. Or if the website is there, they say, take a printout of the manuscript. And I'm Googling, what is a manuscript? This is a layman. Okay? Yeah. I'm sending these manuscripts to people. During this time, I also shift my base from Bhubaneswar to Chandigarh. I'm here. This is 2008, early beginning. Right. And half of the publishers have rejected my work. The other half didn't even feel the need to write me an email that we had rejected.
Of rejection letter.
Yeah. There's only one multinational publishing house which was left to reject me, and I boarded a Shatabdi from Chandigarh to Delhi, landed up in their office. It's a huge multinational publishing house. Right. I land up at the doorstep and then say, who are you? Why are you here? And I'm telling them that it's been 3.5 months. I sent my submission. Nothing happened. And they said, you can't. So the moment the receptionist heard my voice, she had a face palm moment. You have arrived here as well, because she could connect my face to the voice.
Calling on the phone a lot. Yeah.
And she would keep the phone down.
Right.
I said, today I'm going to speak to the editor. So that's my determination or stupidity.
Right.
Somebody passes that space and then she says, what is this ruckus all about? And then she explains, no, this gentleman had come. He had been calling and harassing us. Wow. I'm thrown out of the security escorts me
on that
out.
day you were thrown out of the office?
On that day, like
Crazy.
after that 15-20 minutes of drama.
Yep.
And before I was thrown out, I just said, if you have rejected my work, please give it back to me. And I said, but why? And I said, because I fear that that book would become a bestseller one day and somebody else will steal my manuscript and it would be one of you. Because I had to, it's a Punjabi blood, he has to say something for the heck of it.
Correct.
I said, one of you is going to put your name and make it your story, give it back to me. And then Pat came the reply that, you know what we do with the manuscript which we reject? We throw them in a dustbin. So if you really want, go look out in the dustbins of Delhi and you would find. And this is humiliating for me. And I didn't know how to react to that.
Damn.
Somebody's telling you, what? You don't even know how to communicate. And you're talking about you being a writer. How many books have you read? Absolutely nothing. Every word they spoke was bang on right. So I didn't have any, counter to that. I stepped out and I remember I was in tears, and that day it was raining. And because it was raining, nobody could see my tears. I remember this exact line. And 2 hours later, I was on a Haryana Roadways bus going back to Chandigarh, disappointed, and there was mud on my shoe, flies sitting all over me, somebody texting me, what happened that last hope? It was crashed. But being me, I landed up in Delhi NCR one more time. I happened to be in this place called Connaught Place for the very first time. And I saw, okay, there are books being sold on footpath. And I thought, okay, maybe my books may not have the fate to be in the air-conditioned shelves of Oxford and Crossword.
Right.
How about I ask this person? And then I went there and I tapped his shoulder. I said, Bhaiya, if I give you 5 copies, will you be kind enough to keep? And then he looks up all the way at me and then he says, distributor ho tum? He was a Bihari. I said, nahi, author hu. And then he says, कैसा ही author होगा जो खुद अपनी किताबें बेच रहा है. That was he didn't say it, but his eyes
thought it.
I said, सिर्फ 5 किताब रखना है मेरे को, रखने दोगे? And then he said, अरे जाओ ना बाबू, बोनी का टाइम है, क्यों वेस्ट कर रहे हो टाइम? कुछ खरीदना है तो बताओ. I said, I'll buy the books, but can you just keep 5 books? I'm not asking you for the money.
Right.
You just keep it. Let's see if you are able to sell it or not.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, he said, rather than indulging in a verbal conflict with me, he said, okay, you can get them and then keep them as long as you're not asking me to pay you back. If somebody buys, I'll do that.
Consignment pe rakh raha hu main. Right.
He was the very first guy who said yes to me after 20 publishers said, 20 people said no to me. He was the very first person. And I celebrated that. And my entrepreneur mind was like, I'm standing in the M block of this place called Connaught Place. There is one footpath bookseller. How many booksellers are there in this complex? There were 20.
Right.
If 20 multiplied by 500 copies, and out of Connaught Place, how many such Connaught Place would exist in Delhi NCR? And I live in Chandigarh. What if these are my game plan? These are my ideas. In my mind, I was setting up my retailer.
Yeah.
So I thought 500 copies is what I have to publish. And then I thought, this is my retailer side. Let's now think about the production side. All of these books that I've been reading in school, NCERT, Tata Magrolls, kahin to publish hoti hongi, where exactly? What are this? Who publishes them? Who are these printers? Yeah. Can I set up my own printer and then churn it out and then bring it to him? Let's see if that works. And I will go out on Orkut and tell people, those footpath people out there, I will do some stunt that people would come and buy.
So self-publishing even before the word existed also.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow.
This was my game plan. And then I figured out, went online, checked, where are these school, college books published? And then I heard about this place called Daryaganj. Now, this is somebody who's new to Delhi. मैं दिल्ली में 2-3 बार आया हूँ बस. Right. I landed up in Daryaganj. It's the Daryaganj of 2007-8 was a paper town from a Shah Rukh Khan's movie. Everywhere there was paper. There were rims coming. There were rickshaw pullers bringing those pages and
Chaudi Bazaar and all that.
Everything was I said, okay. There were so many pages on street, and there were tire marks of scooter or the rickshaw pullers. I felt, okay, I have reached this place, and I look around. There are so many printers. And I said, which is the smallest printer? The reason being, वो मुझे सबसे कम charge करेगा. So let me just go to the smallest printer.
With the low MOQ also, right?
So and then he says, yes. I said, I need to get books printed. And then he says, which publishing house? I said, I'm an author. And then this is a 60 years old man.
Right.
He's like taken aback. No author has come everybody comes via publisher. You must be mistaken. You are with some publisher. Maybe you are a publisher as well as you are wanting to publish your own book. I said, no, I'm an author. I don't know publishing. And my first statement was, every publishing house has rejected me. Let's not waste time. I will pay you. You will give me 500 copies. And then the way I was talking, he said, and she said, beta, better 2 minutes. You want to have some water? And then I had some water. And then he said, why do you want 500 copies? I said, because I want my books to be out. He said, do you know, nobody gives an order of 100, 500 copies. They're in thousands. Yeah. I said, so you are not going to print them. Can you charge me more for these 500 copies? But my estimate is 500 copies. Anyway, so to cut the long story short, his idea was that if a book is what you want to publish, and if all the big publishing houses have rejected you, why are you not looking at the small publishing houses? Right. And I said, where are those small publishing houses? Because they don't exist on internet. No. He said, I will tell you, there are thousands of publishing houses in this country, but they're very tiny. Nobody looks at them. He happened to mention a couple of them to me. He also told me that, you spend money in getting a good editor, let him or her polish your work, and then you reach out to these publishers. Right. Tell me the genre of your book. And then said romance. I said, and then he heard my entire story and he could sense the pain. And then he said to me that these are 2-3 publishing houses who are publishing romance and their books sell in Delhi University. So your market should be Delhi University. I said, okay, fair enough. So I'll do the maths. I'll go back, figure out who can do what. Sure. So that was one day wherein I thought the day I will sell 500 copies, I will call myself a best-selling author. And today that book has sold more than 1 million copies. And the fun fact is, 3.5 years later, I get a mail from a big reputed publishing house. Another one from another big reputed publishing house. Another one. Like this is the time wherein I am being invited to the JLF, Jaipur Literature Festival, and Times and Hindu. Right. They're inviting me. This is where publishers meet. And then one publishing house said, if you are in Delhi NCR, we would love to meet you. Let's just host. Are you discussing the sequel? People are going crazy about your book. Right. I went to that publishing house. Largely my reason was that because they were hosting me at a 5-star, I said, at least I'll have a good... Khana to acha mil jayega. Correct. Let's just go there, and then came back. And then they said, Mr. Singh, we have drafted a contract for you. Just go through it once and you can let me know what you think about this. They just didn't want to miss that opportunity to get that the second novel that you are kept signed. Back then, even the name of this novel was not decided. Okay. So they had mentioned unnamed manuscript by Ravinder Singh. And it will be a sequel of I Too Had a Love Story. Right. That much it was mentioned. They wanted the same guy's story, what happens next. Because the world was anticipating what happened to this person. Right. When I reached page number 11 of that contract, that's where they had mentioned an advance. And I was like, wow. Somebody is giving me an advance. Like, that is the trust factor. And then while I was reading this, one of the 2 ladies who sat in front of me, and then she said, it would have been so nice if the first book also would have been from our publishing house, then we would have celebrated this at a whole different level of launching this book. So anytime you want to bring it to us, we would love to host that. And this is when I don't even look at them and my eyes are still fixed on the figures that I'm seeing, and I say, 3.5 years back, exactly at this place, I had come, brought the manuscript to you, ma'am, and you said it doesn't deserve to be published. Crazy. So that was my aha moment. It's a moment where I see, what exactly were you talking? It is this moment in my life. Yeah, it's completely went full circle. It was. And my world has changed. And I do understand that I don't hold grudge against anybody. Right. Back then, who I was, what understanding the other person had. Sometimes we need the test of time. I thank my stars that I was at the right place. That I thank my stars that I did not give up against all odds. I thank that footpath person for saying yes, or that printer guy. good things happen. आपको बस वो जिद पालनी है कि मुझे ना ये करना है बस.
Love it.
That's about it. That's my story.
And again, for viewers and listeners at home, truly, people talk about J.K. Rowling, but here we have, our own J.K. Rowling moment that's happened where there was so much rejection. And I think that happens, so much in life also. It happens with entrepreneurial ideas, it happens with, even when salespeople are following up with the client and they just get repeated rejection. Yeah. I think persistence and just carrying on is so important, right? Because I remember this quote from the Buddha once, and he said, in the battle between the stream and the rock, the stream will always win, not through strength, but through perseverance. Yeah. And I think what you just shared was, an exact, replica of exactly that happening.
Totally.
So in today's time, of course, I hear, and it's very interesting where you mentioned that children who are, maybe in their, teens and 20s at that time who read your books are today calling you or messaging you and saying, my daughter, who's now in her teens or maybe in university now, she has started reading that. What does that really feel like? How does that, hit home for you?
No, good. So the last part of this love trilogy came this year. It's called Half of Forever. Mm-hmm. So the same guy, Robin, his story starts 12 years after where it ended in Can Love Happen Twice.
Right.
So I've been privy to conversations such as, I read your book in class 9th and now I have a kid, or I read your book when I had just gotten married and I was telling my husband, this is the kind of guy, why aren't you like him?
And guys must hate you, like they're like
they do. Yeah. So some of the husbands are actually dragged to my book launches and I look at them and I upfront in the very first minute, I say to the men, sorry, you have been dragged and I can see it in your eyes, but I will try that this doesn't become a torture for you. Eventually, they'll land up enjoying the conversation. Yeah. The kind of world that I open up. I think the fact that men can be expressive, men can be soft, and they can also talk about how to bear pain. All of that makes that world interesting. But yeah, people telling me where I was, how old I was when I read. So I once put my whiteboard on my Instagram and said, and holding I Too Had a Love Story, I said, I asked 2-3 different questions. How old were you when you read this? Where exactly were you when you finished the last page of this book?
Right.
And 80% of people would say they completed reading the book between 12 in the night and 4 a.m. in the morning.
In a single read. In a single,
most of the time.
In a single session.
Most of the time. This is the time they finished it because they could not. Reading a book is a very intimate affair. And if you are hooked onto the book, it will last long and you will feel that this is my solitude, this is my me time. Let me read this book into the night.
Yeah.
And by the time, and the reason I say this is also because once they finish the book, something hits them and they look me up on the internet and they send me a message. The timing of 80% of emails I used to receive on that email that I had mentioned on the book, it's I Too Had a Love Story @gmail.com, would be between 12 and 4 a.m. The urgency of them to look this author up and write to him that, I'm crying for you. There have been pages, screenshots wherein people send me pages with tear marks on them. Those are the last few pages. Yeah. So I feel that how deeply I have been able to connect with them, that they felt for me. Yeah. And reading a book is a very personal affair than watching a movie. Till the time we used to watch in cinema. It's like a community. Everybody's laughing at the same joke. Everybody's feeling it. But reading is you are personally feeling the depth of it. Reading is you visualizing yourself to be a protagonist. Yeah. It's like watching a movie unfold in your head, wherein you are the very protagonist, so it hits you very differently in that moment. So that's the kind of a connect. And when they get to know that this guy has actually moved on 12 years down the line and the story starts, it's a whole different level of nostalgia. People can't hold themselves back from sharing where they were when they read, who recommended this book to them. Everything just comes alive.
Love it. Tell me about, and you mentioned the whiteboard and holding up the whiteboard. Is that something that you started during COVID?
Correct.
Yeah. Because, when we met, and it was a couple of weeks ago when we met, and, and then you shared your Instagram, handle, which is, this is Ravinder. I think I started following you at that time because, there was a gentleman who would keep holding up the whiteboard. And it's very interesting, in terms of, how the questions that were being posed or the situations that were being asked. Where did this idea come from? Because I think you're always in the balcony of your apartment.
That's true.
And so where did this idea first come from? And when did you get validation that, okay, wow, I'm onto something over here?
So I came to social media for the purpose of my books.
Right.
Unlike cricketers, unlike celebs from movie world, authors were not visible. And Instagram changed the whole game for everybody. Now the creators are the new age celebs. And I always felt, what do I share? I'm a man of words. My genre was the caption, not the post.
So true.
I felt I am not somebody who would, pose like this and then or wear some nice clothes and just I have to do a value add. For my intellectual stimulation. It has to solve some purpose. And I always thought, what could be the format for me to post? So I would initially post a picture or a video, and underneath the caption, I would pour my heart out. Very few people would read those captions because you're just scrolling past. And then I thought, this is not working. Perhaps I should bring the caption on the body itself. So I started posting pictures with captions right in between. That as well didn't do the kind of justice I wanted to get. And I thought, one day I was coming down from my elevator, where I live, and I figured out that there is this place everybody stops by and reads. This is the in the world of lack of attention span, everybody reads that whiteboard and the notice board in our society.
Correct.
When is the next GBM meet? What is happening? When is the Rangoli festival? When is the Diwali being announced? When exactly the water supply will be cut today?
Correct.
All of that has been put on that whiteboard.
Interesting.
I thought whiteboard is this notice board is one thing which everybody stops by and reads. Shall I get a whiteboard and make the world stop by and read? And that's how the whole idea of whiteboard came into existence. And the way I look at it is that I'm a man of words. The writer always sits behind, and the words take the front seat. And it's exactly what I do on my Instagram handle, wherein my words are ahead of me and the writer is right behind. So the analogy fit just well, and it became a format. And everybody now knows me as a whiteboard guy. I run into I'm at some airport and somebody runs into me and they can't recall the first name. They say, "Hey, you're the whiteboard guy." It has become you're the writing board guy. And I just wait for a minute for somebody to tell me my name, and the second thing they say, Ravinder Singh. I said I'm Ravinder Singh, but the whiteboard guy image has gone viral.
Yeah, I think very interesting. And you're right, in a world, full of, doom scrolling, where content somehow, and today, especially in the AI world, where you can't even make out, what is AI generated and what is, legit real content. I think that's something that gets your attention and you pause. And then, and of course, once you're there, and I think large following, right? Across all three handles, you probably have more than 1 million, followers. So that's crazy, right? And in a world where truly people, struggle to get attention, it's something that, really made you stand out. So I think that was really cool.
Thank you.
Tell me more about, the COVID time, and from the perspective of love and relationships, is there was that a tipping point? And, the before COVID and after COVID world, did COVID actually change, what relationships and love really look like?
It made people realize the importance of relationship, is how I would put. It made people value the absence of somebody. When you say social distancing, when you say there are these many resources, these many hospitals, these many beds, these many oxygen cylinders are left.
Right.
How do you ration this? And then you feel that the doors are closing. Us versus rest of the world. It's my society. I have to protect my family.
Right.
And the fact that so many days we have to be alone, at least people who are single. They have to be on their own. When that happened, I think people still, so many of us were fortunate enough to have our finances right. I'm not talking about the tier 3. I'm just speaking for the tier 3 was at a whole different miserable level of problem, to an extent that poor fellows were actually walking on roads, on the highways to reach Bihar and Kolkata, everywhere. I'm just speaking about perhaps the society that I live in. Bunch of people felt this element of loneliness a lot more. Somehow they felt that it's a human need to socialize. Nobody even thought about this.
Right.
it's to an extent that you say you may die and people are still struggling to hold themselves back, that no, I need human connection. That was a validation of how deeply this is our need. Okay, and people who did not have families, I know, who looked for that love element, and because you are suddenly not going to office, those 9 hours you are with yourself, and then again a whole night of being by you, you need that connect. So many people landed up getting their pets during this time because they felt, at least as we were speaking, that at least if not a human being, at least I need to hug somebody, a life,
right,
and perhaps which is more likely to stay loyal to me. That connection, the felt that this is a need was a lot more evident during COVID times. Also, people losing their spouses, partners to COVID was also a realization of a whole different kind. And the fact that we are all together in this, there was one common thread. I understand what you're going through because I am also going through something similar. When you make people experience this, nobody had, I mean, more people have experienced world wars. There were 2 world wars before the first pandemic in the early next century.
The Spanish flu, right, yeah.
So in 100 years, we had at least seen 2 world wars, but the same generation would not have seen this pandemic.
Agreed.
It was unprecedented, happening for the very first time. And how do you deal with that? Relationship, love, made you feel their importance a lot more. And so many people felt that once this is over, I at least want to be with somebody, because this element of loneliness, this can't go for a long while. People opened up to this idea. One of the reasons why I named my startup as Let's Socialize is because of the element of social distancing was the norm. We were coming out of social distancing, and this is 2022 when I was toying with this idea that can we just do something of that sort? And my idea was that not to even limit it to relationship. It could be open for anybody as long as you want a human connection. And the idea of Let's Socialize, naming it so, was one reason I named it so. But yeah, COVID was a great reminder of how much human lives matter to another human.
Agreed. And of course, we're going to talk about, Let's Socialize, because I think as a phenomena, that's amazing. And with the traction that you're getting, and I was, on your Insta handle yesterday, and I was seeing that you even have meetups that are happening for 50s and 60-year-olds, maybe even older people than that, just getting together. Coming back to the pandemic piece, and one other thought comes to mind as well. I mean, one, obviously, you mentioned from the single perspective, okay, locked out at home, looking at connection. There was another set of people, and of course, I would say that people in our circles as well that I've known who, when they realize that husband and wife are like locked in and just spending time, with each other, there's a lot of things that came to the surface which normally wouldn't have. When the world was open, okay, let's say husband and wife had problem with each other, wife was busy traveling, husband was busy traveling. There was that out they would get away. But when they were locked in for 3-4 months, in the same house, then it was like an explosion. And I have another friend who's a lawyer and divorce lawyer at that, and she's like, boss, the number of divorce cases that are coming up now, like that's during the pandemic or right after, even that was crazy, right?
Yeah. No, it is. It is good that you brought this point. Yes, it has been, which is also a great reminder that a life can't be all about relationship. You need your personal space. This is the reason you need a partner, but you also need your friends.
Right.
Sometimes you need this world so that you can completely come and exhaust yourself. This is happening in my personal life.
Right.
When all of this is taken away, it's an ecosystem that we need. We need a society to live in. We need our personal world. And then there is a world which is just you. It's not even your partner who knows all your thoughts which are going on in your mind. The sanity has to be there. And all of this defines that sanity. Your health, your wealth, the kind of relationships that you are a part of. Extreme of anything is bad. Either way. So it's an act of balance. When you take one thing and you expose the other person to the extreme. So once you expose this person to this extreme, and also some of them would have done it really well when you have the partner who is complementing you. This is the test of true compatibility.
Right.
There are people who would have, and for 10 such stories I will hear, there are 3 such stories wherein the couple said, this is a problem, we are going to navigate it together.
And the relationship flourished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My belief in relationships have always been, this is the litmus test. There are more chances of people drifting apart when the money is growing.
Right.
Till the time they are glued to the idea that we have these many means, they ration things. They say, okay, you buy this, I will buy this.
Right.
Let's run this together. These are my strengths, these are your weaknesses. Let's complement each other.
Right.
The moment you make this one goal in this relationship and then say, it's our goal, it holds you, it binds you.
Interesting.
The moment that goal is fulfilled, people land up drifting apart. I'm not saying this happens always, but largely, if given a sense, if I do an analysis of people drifting apart when they had fewer resources, fewer means, those will be smaller cases vis-a-vis this. Because now you have new goals. And your new goals are bigger than the previous goals. And somehow this person isn't a part of that new goal.
Yeah.
So for every 10 scenarios, I would have seen 3 such scenarios wherein people said, this is a common challenge. Let's navigate this. Your parents are in a different city. They are stuck. My parents are in a different city. We have a child to take care of. Okay, let's figure it out. Priority number 1, 2, 3, and we are in this together. If we start taking these life hassles as our challenge, in my head, I try to do so. I try to get the best out of this world. And I look at this, and I'm not saying this for the heck of it, I start seeing this as an opportunity to become a better version of myself.
Love it.
Because I can't avoid this. Ab main kya karu? COVID aa gaya, right? Either I keep suffocating myself or keep cribbing or say, let me use this as an opportunity. I have the same mindset when I am on the treadmill. In my head, I gamify everything. I see treadmill, it's treadmill versus Ravinder. Treadmill 0, Ravinder, love all. In next 10 minutes, at the speed of 10, if I give up, treadmill will win, I will lose. Tomorrow, today, 11 minutes. The next day, 12 minutes. Hey, treadmill, how are you doing? I am playing with my own mind, but if this is helping me, why not?
Yeah. And gamification is a great way to, achieve milestones. And I thought very interesting what you mentioned that, when sometimes couple have goals and when those couple goals are actually achieved, after that it's like, now what, then what? And then you're at the crossroads and hence you said there are potential possibilities that people can actually, split apart at that point as well. Another aspect.
I think it's important to have common goals. Problem comes when we start talking about individual goals. Now, I am not saying that, hey, because of this, earn less money. Don't be complacent. Grow. Your growth, it should be monetary, it should be health, wealth. I think couple who forget about money, I would love to see, and I see very few couples who have made their health their goal. You know what? Fitness. Next year, we will participate in High Rocks together, let's say. Okay. We will do this better. We haven't learned swimming. Next year, let's do this together.
Nice.
And while you are doing this, you will still fight with each other. It's good.
Correct.
It's a healthy fight. I did this better than you. But at least are we achieving that common goals? So we need to have a bucket of our common goals, our individual goals. No matter what you do, but these common goals are going to keep you thick.
So true. Yeah, I would agree. In fact, I think another thing that really came into play at some point, in our existence over the last 15, 20 years, and you've probably seen this, is that there was you can call it a term called the sunk cost fallacy, where people would say, how can we split up? Log kya kahenge? Families kya kahengi? But then it actually became this thing that people were happy to walk away, and they was like, "Okay, this is the way things are. I'd rather be happy outside a toxic relationship than actually be in one." When do you think people started, throwing sunk cost fallacy out of the window and say, "You know what? I'm in a toxic relationship. I need to walk out and and live my life and figure things out"?
I think the way world runs is we all look forward to our role models. Sometimes only few people have the tendency to become the role models for somebody else.
Right.
And they are not doing so because they want to become the role model. They are doing so because they are trying to fix the problem for themselves.
Sure.
They said enough is enough. There would always be somebody in the society that we live, and if the entire society is saying, but why, this one person will say, but why not?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's a logical question for me, and my step is not going to harm you, who are you to tell me? And I have taken that decision after a lot of thinking. This person becomes, lot of times, people who are gossiping about this person and trying to shame this person are actually those people who are in the same ship that he or she was.
Right.
Just that they don't have the audacity or the guts to say it and come out of that ship.
Right.
So these people gossip about this person, trying to gauge the reaction of others about them. They're not gauging their reaction for them. They're gauging their reaction that if I would have done what I'm thinking in my heart, this is how they are going to react.
Right.
We live in a very hypocrite world at times.
For sure.
Okay.
Sure.
We always love the idea of firing the gun from somebody else's shoulder. That's what we do. Eventually, this very person, couple of months passed, years passed. Then this person sees the person who stepped out, who he or she were trying to shame. Now this person is living a happy life, happier. And now somewhere he or she is comparing, I chose to stick with my marriage. Yeah. The world says, let's celebrate those who no matter what do not give up on the school of marriage.
Right.
But you know what? He's happy and I'm not. This realization, whenever this tipping point comes, you realize that I could have been that person, is when some of them would have the courage. Some of them would take the first step, will then back out. Some of them will take the second or third step, will back out. But eventually, when they realize that the day you understand that I have got one life and I have done almost everything. I say this every time whenever I'm talking on this subject. Leave no stone unturned to fix your relationship.
Yep.
Okay? Because once you are out, there's an element of guilt that is going to come.
Right.
That maybe I could have. Us maybe ka jawab hona chahiye, I did everything.
To try and salvage
that will help you live with yourself.
Yeah.
That is super important. Yeah. And once you are dead sure, you have done everything that you could do to save this relationship, it's not working. I am with you when you say, let's end this toxicity because I have got one life and I have to live it.
Yeah.
My problem is when people misuse this term of I have got one life. So this is 8 out of 10. I want a relationship with 9 out of 10. And hence I'm leaving this. That is the problem. When we misuse some statement. And so my understanding, my falsafa of life is this.
Right.
Do everything and remind people why we got together at the very first place. And can we salvage? Can we still grow? We are drifting apart, but can we bring back that element? And people are running away from the idea of making sacrifices in relationship because we have made the word sacrifices, compromise, adjustment as bad words. They are not. Those are the litmus. If you ask me, how do you know, in your heart, do you love this woman or not? My answer is pretty simple. Am I going to sacrifice something very dear to me for this one person, only this one person, not anybody else?
Correct.
It is a litmus test for me. It's not infatuation. I am willing to let go something very dear. Apart from my self-respect. I cannot let go my self-respect. That is the only thing. And then comes this person. If my answer is yes, at the drop of hat, I would do so. And also know that this person is not misusing this opportunity. कि अच्छा इससे मुझे प्यार है, इसमें जो भी बोलूंगी ये तो कर देगा मेरे लिए. No.
Right.
That is compromising with my self-respect. Knowing that my love is being weaponized against me and I'm still letting it happen. No. But that's my understanding of life.
Yeah, I think very valuable points. And I think one that you mentioned right up front on this one was role models. And I was just thinking back, I mean, where are role models coming from, mostly? I mean, back in the day, it was, Bollywood or Hollywood. In due course, it perhaps became, reality TV or sports. And movies in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, almost always said, oh, you stay together no matter what happens. The wife is being discriminated against or beaten up, bad in-laws, but, Sita Gita kind of stuff. But they said, you stick it in together. And I think in due course, it became the other extreme where we're like, you only live once, it's not working out. Who gives a damn? And I think today it's probably come back to a stage where people are like, let's find the median path. It doesn't have to be this or that. There is a middle path that's also there. And I think the other thing that's very interesting that you mentioned is that when two people are thinking of splitting up for whatever reason, I think it's always good to revisit, why you got together in the first place and make it work. Because what do they say, right? One in hand is always better than two in the bush. And I think people always believe that, oh, if I was with that person, I'd perhaps be happier. But maybe not. Maybe you had a good thing going and you just threw it all away. And I think a lot of, animosity and tension comes in, when you start, just looking around and evaluating, what are my better options.
That is true. Which is why it is very important to realize this. I am not abandoning this ship because the other ship looks better. I am abandoning this ship because this ship is not moving at all. No matter whether this ship is there or not, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
That should be the reason.
True.
That should be the reason.
True.
Often people end up realizing this when they happen to see the other ship. That is the problem.
Yeah.
I would say, if it's not working, forget if there is somebody else or not. I have the clarity, this is not working.
Yeah.
That is the reason I'm stepping out of this.
Awesome.
Because otherwise, all kinds of ifs happen. And for every if, I will have a if not. Today, we are distracted. Why do you think dating apps are not working? Yeah. There are millions trying to find one thing, love. Yeah. And together, we are failing at it. Why? Because we are going through something called problem of plenty.
Great.
Every time we want to connect with somebody, till the time we aren't connected, we have an imagination of theirs. We want to connect with this person. The moment the connection is established, the value has gone down. Because ab to ho gaya na connection, ab to main jaan gaya na isko.
Correct.
And somehow another profile is looking much better than this. Yeah. And we always keep thinking there is always somebody better than this person. So we are not able to settle with this very person who we once wanted. Yeah. That is the problem that we are going through.
So, I mean, very interesting that you mentioned the dating app space. And of course, Let's Socialize, which itself has become, such a big, movement. Is this what led to the creation of Let's Socialize? One, of course, you said, yes, the pandemic was, ending and you want people to start getting together. But also the problem with dating apps today, A, the same people on all the apps, B, profiles are again, randomly AI created and whatnot. There's, again, such a lack of authenticity. Is that what led to Let's Socialize? And of course, love to let our viewers and listeners also know about what Let's Socialize is actually doing as well.
So, yeah, Let's Socialize is right now the largest community of singles, offline community of singles in the country. We have also expanded. We are in other countries as well. Dubai is our second big market.
Lovely.
The need to create Let's Socialize it started on a very personal note. I happened to be on a date via a dating app, figured out this woman who I'm going to meet is not who she claimed to be on the app.
Sure.
So, and I'm realizing I was talking to a different person for 2 weeks, and this happens in the very first meet. My realization was that I thought so far men do this, but there are women also doing this because as a man, I'm experiencing this. Somewhere else also I experienced somewhat similar thing. And I figured out the problem very quickly, that the persona on that app, the personality is very different from in person.
So true.
Just not about the date, about anybody.
Right.
You may have a persona of you on LinkedIn. Yeah. I meet you in person. I would say, Gaurav to itna bada bolta tha. I must say this, kya? Aisa to kuch hai nahi. Everybody picks their best picture on a dating app.
Right.
The moment we start posting, the moment the apps make it mandatory that you have to actually post the Aadhaar card picture on a dating app, I want to see how many people are swiping left and right on each other.
Yeah.
So I think we are somewhere in between those Aadhaar card pictures and the dating app pictures that we post.
Like that.
That's about the picture. You can't change much about it.
Right.
But then there are so many filters and fillers and all of it. You can write whatever you want to write about yourself, but only when you meet in person, when you talk, when you open your mouth and mind, when you communicate, is when you figure out the gravity of the situation. My statement has been meet people, not profiles, because this is where you get to experience the vibe. So that personal experience of mine made me feel like instead of these apps, which obviously brings some sort of comfort,
right,
wouldn't it be nice to meet people in the real world first and then decide whether I want to stay digitally connected with them or not? Then I will decide whether I should give my number to this woman or not. Let me get a sense of this. That was my number one ask. Number two is, and when I'm meeting these people in the real world, I do not want to meet them over a date.
Yeah.
I just want to meet people. I want to drop the pressure of going on a date with a random person.
Right.
I just don't, no matter if I have seen you also, it comes with some sort of pressure. And if I'm not enjoying the date, I will have to at least be there for another hour, order a cup of coffee, if not food. I have to park my vehicle. And all I will be thinking in my mind is, when is this going to get over?
How do I get out of here?
And it's disrespectful for the other person also. I don't want to do that. So what is the solution? And back then I looked up on internet and this is the time where so many founder meets were happening, D2C founder meets, networking events, etc., etc. The kind of BNI where we met.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is there no such meet for singles? There was absolutely zilch. I thought necessity is the mother of invention. Let me create something.
Of course.
I went to my Instagram. My Instagram was the platform. I held a board in my hand. I said, how many of you are in Delhi NCR and single? There were 3,000 comments. I said, great, why don't you chat among each other in the comment section?
Right.
I thought I am doing some service to humankind. And hardly people chatted. Hardly. I said, why is this not working? I'm just making you meet. I'm saying, bina paise diye comments mein chat karo. Men and women both. The trust deficit was there. Who is who? Again, the same problem came.
Of course.
I said, okay, how about I get 20 men, 20 women, and I will be the anchor. I'll be the host.
Love it.
You just come over here. So Malviya Nagar, we booked a venue. There were 20 men, 20 women. This was the first chapter, November, 3.5 years back.
Mm-hmm.
And people showed up. It was great. I said, okay, this is working. I was done with that. A month later, some of the content that I had posted was going viral. And people in Bombay said, yahan pe kab kar rahe ho? I said, I'm not going to take a plane to make you all meet.
Correct.
With each other. And this is also the time when Delhi people said, when is the next meet? I said, okay, let me do the next meet in Delhi. So after 2 months, I hosted another meet. Again, the philosophy was simple. 20 men, 20 women. You just turn up and we'll figure it out. After we did the second meet is when Mumbai people again said, why aren't you doing this here? I said, okay, let me just do this. How many of you will come?
So then you flew down to Bombay then?
I flew down to Bombay.
Yeah.
It worked. Then Bangalore happened. For next 10 months, every weekend, I flew out of Delhi NCR. A Saturday would be Delhi and then some other city. Every month, every weekend, I started traveling. Hyderabad, and I kept repeating. Once done, Mumbai done, Delhi done, Chandigarh, and then Hyderabad and Kolkata done, all of this. The word of mouth started spreading. To cut the long story short, massive success happened.
Right.
To an extent wherein we, of course, started our Instagram handle because I felt like this is another IP which is in the building. My own followers started saying, we don't enjoy your content because we aren't single anymore and we want to attend those meets. So can you just come back to the old writing board content that you were doing? So I created Let's Socialize, another page.
Right.
And my idea for Let's Socialize was very simple that, yes, we are going to address the issue of dating. We are bringing singles together largely, but we are also trying to solve the problem of loneliness.
Right.
Even if you don't want a relationship, you can be here. Most welcome.
Yeah.
If you're committed or married, you are not allowed because it's going to disrupt the whole
ethos or what it stands for.
Correct.
Right.
And after 10 months, our team I felt I can't do this every week. No. And I fell sick. I was admitted in Narayana Hospital.
Oh,
I picked some bug on my way back from Bangalore meet, and for 3 days I was stuck. And my team was now hosting the event. And this is, for the very first time, I realized that these meets can actually work without me also. Because the great pull that I could bring in was women registrations.
Right.
How did this happen? A man who has been writing romance for more than a decade now. Yeah. These people have read my work and they know what I stand for. So many women had this trust factor on me.
Correct.
That if he's doing, it's a safe meet.
Yeah.
We do our meets. The maximum that we have done is in Delhi NCR. We have alcohol as part of this meet, and still everybody felt safe to an extent that women said, "Why aren't men talking?" In my meets, women are more comfortable. Men are the shy lot. Sometimes struggle to even pick conversations, and I'm seeing a whole different side. Women till today are on waitlist in Mumbai, in Dubai. We get more women. I spend money running ads to get men.
Amazing.
Word of mouth travel. We thought, okay, let's improve the quality of the participants also. And one way to do so was to launch
a premium
our own
version.
app.
Okay.
So we launched our app, and people started registering. How I replaced my presence with others, people who were our participants, they started coming back to our meets again and again. And I said, don't pay me.
Right.
Do a service here.
Yeah.
Try to fix your problem and try to fix other people's problem. Because I felt that these were evangelists for me. And they better understood the problem. So this is how organically my team grew. We remained bootstrapped. We remained profitable to an extent that so many of my meets in Bangalore, in Mumbai, in Delhi NCR, at least one or two people would be VCs or angel investors. Their first question is, "Kitne time se kar rahe ho? How are you able to do this?" The crowd is actually fantastic. You are hosting events in Hyatt or Romeo Lane. These are big properties. Have you raised money?
They want a piece of the action. Yeah.
I said, no, I have not. And I don't even want to. I'm not even seeing this with the idea that I want to sell this business so far. And as we say never. My idea is that I am thoroughly enjoying this journey of bringing people together. There are people who say, I did not find anybody interesting enough to be in relationship, but I have made such solid friends. I have cracked certain professional deals with people.
Awesome.
There is a CA and there is a startup guy. I'm marrying them, both guys, but the business marriage is happening. Somebody who's a doctor, and there is a single mom who has moved from Bangalore to Delhi NCR, doesn't know. Now she has a doctor on her phone book.
Right.
Those are the kind of connects that we are doing. Brilliant. We do not discriminate between never married and a divorcee or a widower. There are a bunch of people who lost their dear ones during COVID. We have absolutely zero discrimination on that. A lot of women have been benefited. The kind of bonding that they created among themselves.
Right.
How our group has helped people make their friends from this group. They make a little WhatsApp group. Let's say you and I are a part of those WhatsApp group, and we met at the singles meet, and it's a general neutral group that we are making.
Right.
I may know that you didn't find anybody interesting, but I know somebody who you would be interested in, perhaps. Let me connect that friend of mine. This is how I tell people, you should not be dependent on us. Our success is when people are actually socializing and creating their own groups.
Brilliant.
So people who were part of these events, then they moved. Somebody moved to Toronto, somebody moved to Dubai. They are attending singles mixers over there. The West has been conducting for many years. We started over here. They said, I had been to singles mixers, but none of them are like the way you do. We do hand holding.
And very structured, right? You have because when you mentioned that sometimes when people come in, they have, their barriers are up. So you have icebreakers that you do, right?
Yeah.
What does a typical event look like?
So it's a 3 hours event.
Right.
There are drinks and there are snacks sometimes.
Right.
The first 15-20 minutes is like us seeing men on one side, women on one side.
Sure.
That barrier is so visible.
Right.
And then the host comes into picture. We do a little introduction round. It's a fun-filled round. My idea of asking people to start conversation is at least ye bolo ki yaar kitna bekar event kar raha hai ye. The first thing people when walk into this gathering is yahan to meri pasand ka koi bhi nahi hai. This is what they thought.
Yeah.
I said yahi bol do.
Correct.
Kitna bekar kiya yaar, maine paise waste kar di. Let this be the common ground.
Yeah.
And I promise you, after 3 hours, the very first 15-20 minutes, people are listening to me. The last half hour of this meet, I'm on mic,
struggling to get a word
guys,
in.
please, can you please listen to me? And the beauty is, this is what Let's Socialize. And when I get their attention, I say, I'm so sorry. This is my success that you're not listening to me.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to create. And people have been very grateful for what we have been able to create. Awesome. The element of loneliness, the word of mouth travel.
Yeah.
I started it for 30s, and then started doing this for 40s, started for 50s, and now we are at 60s. It's all word of mouth.
Amazing.
Some people are very, very sure about being in that age bracket that marriage is not for me. Perhaps relationship is also not. But you know what? I'm missing that connection. मैं अकेला हूँ, मेरे बच्चे US में रहते हैं. What do I do? I have money, but I just don't know, and nobody's going to entertain me. I'm bringing them under one roof.
That's so fair. What a cool idea.
And that's what they are doing. Now they send us pictures of hosting Diwali parties. They meet. They say, met at Let's Socialize. The crowd going to Goa saying, on a Goa trip, New Year's, met at Let's Socialize. That is the victory for me. 11 couples that I know of personally, they are getting married. Wow. Some of them have got married. There's one person. And I was digging her videos because she reached out. You know what? I met this guy 2 years back in that Delhi meet. You were host. Can you please give me pictures? I have to surprise him that this is how we met. So I am now going back on my phone gallery 2 years back, and I am able to figure that out. That okay, this is your picture. Go ahead, enjoy your life.
Amazing.
This is one amazing journey it has been.
So gratifying, right? When you get stories like that, and again in a world full of where there is so much negativity and noise, and when stuff like this comes out, it's just heartwarming, and it just says it makes it all worth it. And hence, I understand why you said I don't want investor money. I don't want a angel to come in or a VC or a PE to come in, because then it's no longer going to be your agenda. Then it'll be like, acha, commercialize kar do, and like
then,
so all of
then
that.
You are driven by somebody's money, some goals that you have to. Then the Excel sheet defines so much. I simply want to delay the Excel sheet. Maybe I will have to raise equity at one point in time. I don't know. As we say, never say never.
Right.
But so far, even if that happens, I still want to continue with the ethos why I built this, because I personally enjoy. At times, I'm the founder. I'm also the host. I'm also the part-time photographer, because मुझे पता है कि ये जो माहौल बना है इसको capture करते हैं यार, इसको इसकी reel बनाएंगे, because this is going to influence so many. It's such a cool crowd. Is having a great moment. I can also be a part of this. So all of these ideas keep going in my mind.
No, I love it. In fact, I was on the handle yesterday, and I was seeing like 20th could be meet here, 21st could be here, 24th could be here. Then I'm like, aren't we shooting together on the 23rd? But now when you mentioned that, a lot of volunteers are also coming in and taking the entire movement forward. I think that's brilliant, right? And truly hyperscaling as well. All right, so let's do a bit of a rapid fire. And of course, at the end of the rapid fire, there has to be a goodie hamper as well. So one word that defines love today.
Sacrifice.
One red flag that people tend to ignore.
Bad character, good chemistry.
Interesting. What's harder, falling in love or staying in love?
Staying, of course.
You mentioned that earlier as well. One thing that singles, at some of your mixers get completely wrong about relationships.
Get completely wrong about relationship. That it may happen in 1 or 2 meets.
It's something that's going to definitely take time. If you could have dinner with one fictional romantic character, who would it be?
I won't go on a dinner with a fictional character. If the dinner goes really great, I'm going to regret that it's fictional.
Yeah, I like that thought. What's more important, chemistry or compatibility?
Can I get both?
Why not? Ask and you shall receive, right? Marriage, less relevant today or equally relevant as it was a few years ago?
Less relevant.
Yeah, you spoke a lot about that as well. Heartbreak, is it the best teacher or worst feeling?
Depends on the kind of person you are. It's both. You are lucky if you made something very positive out of that heartbreak. I don't wish it comes true, the heartbreak comes true, but if it has, it is your opportunity to create something very beautiful out of it.
Maybe learn some lessons from there as well. Yeah. Happily ever after, reality or fiction?
Fiction.
Okay. Best love story ever written, but not by you?
This is John Green's Fault in Our Stars. They made a movie out of it.
Right.
Also.
Considering movie, aapki picture kab bani hai? When is your movie coming out for your books?
I have no idea. I've stopped answering that question. This should be asked to Bollywood.
Yeah, maybe again, like what you did in the bookseller days, you need to get out there and start meeting some producers and directors.
There should be a making of I Too Had a Love Story should also be part of that movie. The entire making of one man, a 26-year-old boy, madly in love with the woman who is no more.
Yeah, maybe that's a movie that you're going to self-produce and self-direct at some point, right? Have you ever fallen in love with the character that you created?
No.
Okay. At Let's Socialize events, do you spot couples forming in real time?
Never. None of them. All of these 11 marriages that I talked about, I got to know from a third person, and then we validated. I was like, really? This happened? I can never say. Never say. Never say.
And of course, it's probably too early to even decide on that first meeting, right?
But yeah, most of the times I also forget people. I know this is a rapid fire, but I'll just take a moment over here. We hosted Noida Meet, our very first singles fest in Noida. Close to 100 people showed up. And we were hosting, and outside, I was there, and two people walked in, a man and a woman. And my teammate introduced them to me, and they said, "Do you know them?" I said, "No." And then he said they met at Let's Socialize, and randomly they were in that mall to enjoy a drink together. I said, how beautiful it is to see two people right in front of my eyes. I have no memory not seeing them. I perhaps had missed that event. And they said, we met in your Diwali chapters. बेचारे दोनों दिया paint कर रहे थे activity में. They remembered, they narrated the entire thing. And this is how they got together. I could not have seen them and said, a couple of months down, they would be together in some mall. And while we are hosting another Let's Socialize, I invited them inside. Guys, here's the mic. Talk whatever you want to talk. The moment they enter, 3 people in that meet who were repeat participants said, "Hey, hi, how are you guys doing?" It was so evident right in front of me. I could not have predicted anything about anybody. But I do believe in this fundamental that once you do good, things will follow.
Agreed. Yeah. Dating apps, useful, useless, or dangerous?
They have lived their time, not anymore.
Got it. One thing singles do wrong that kills their chances in the first, few minutes of getting together.
They approach the other person only if the other person fits the idea of their partner.
Right.
They reduce their chances many times by doing this. My idea is simple. Approach people if they fit the idea of your friendship. And then eventually the relationship would progress.
Friendship first, and who knows where it goes from there after. Love that. Yeah. Have you ever been tempted to play matchmaker yourself at one of your events?
Yes. In fact, I'm building something on my very app because of this whole need coming into picture. And a bunch of them telling me, I saw Bangalore meet, there was some good crowd. I saw in Dubai meet. Why can't I talk to them, these people? And I am now, based on the need, thinking, can I, under Let's Socialize, I'm trying a new vertical called Let's Socialize Better. And under that, we are trying to build something find better. So I want to understand you as a person first, and then tell you in my database who can be a best fit as per me. Turns out not. Again, another chance. It's a subscription-based program which we are going to launch in 2 months.
Oh, lovely. I think it's a great, extension of, what you're doing as well. What's one of the biggest lies that single people tell themselves?
That I am not looking for a relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
They're just not able to live that lie in front of my eyes.
Right. Microsoft program manager or full-time author? Which version of you was happier?
Love story version.
Of course.
Never regretted.
You still, you've written now what, 12 books, right? And about love. Are you still learning what love means?
I am still learning the perception of the world when it comes to this love. How diverse is the perception? Sometimes I'm just awestruck and sometimes in shock.
Let's take a couple of fill in the blanks. All right. So loneliness is dash.
The new pandemic.
For sure. And love is dash.
The healing agent.
Powerful. So last question on the rapid fire. So you spent nearly 2 decades now almost writing about love, loss, hope, and relationships. If the 25-year-old version, of you was actually watching this and feel that they missed their chance at love, what would your advice be to the 25-year-old you?
Do exactly what you did. Listen to your gut feeling.
Yeah.
Listen to your gut feeling.
Yeah.
That's super important, I think.
And the gut is almost always right.
Almost always. Yeah. Even if it's wrong, at least you will have the solace that you listen to your gut feeling, not what your parents told you or your friends told you.
Right.
You lived your life on your terms and conditions. And there is nothing more beautiful than that.
Agreed. Yeah. Love that. Super. Love that, rapid fire round as well. Let's come to a concluding, piece together. And let's talk about, the AI element in love today. And, you mentioned something and, something that you spoke, maybe several years ago. And it's a commentary that I hear a lot of people now talking about. Gary Vee's been speaking about this as well at a lot of conferences where he's been getting up on stage and saying that don't be surprised if your children or grandchildren, actually end up marrying an AI-enabled, being. What's really happening in this space, and what are your thoughts on, what the future of love is looking like?
Yeah, I remember talking about this almost a decade back. I was at a Lit Fest, and the question was that I have been writing. Back then, this question was that it's been a decade of me writing. Where do I see love? And how I started my answer was that I was born in 80s. I have seen an era when it comes to the spectrum of love.
Right.
An era wherein arranged marriages were the norm and love marriages were seen as taboo.
Right.
Then came the acceptance of love marriages. This is 90s Bollywood, wherein the stories were like couples running away and getting married. Kayamat se Kayamat Tak was my first Amir Khan movie, and
Juhi Chawla,
Juhi Chawla, them wanting to marry, and the parents were like, it will only be arranged marriage, love marriage. It was a taboo. Then came the time of acceptance of love marriage. This is early 2000. I just got into Infosys, and the word started doing the rounds was live-in relationships. Love marriages were accepted, live-ins were a taboo. The decade passed, live-ins were normalized.
Correct.
There was a new taboo that we were talking about, homosexuality. We were opening to this idea.
Sure.
People who were making homosexual jokes till a decade back were now looked down upon. Yeah. And then came the acceptance of homosexuality.
Right.
Okay. Now, where we are headed to, I tell this that the problem in Romeo Juliet's story today isn't society anymore. It's Romeo and Juliet themselves. They are not able to navigate that relationship. Right. Till the time they had a common enemy, they were still together.
Right.
But largely for modern couples, because we have become independent, us staying together has become the challenge. And back then I had said, I think people will fall in love with their operating systems or technology in some way.
Right.
And this I said much before I even watched that movie, Her or She, there's a name. I watched it much later and I said, this is exactly how I had been thinking about this, because I read on this subject a lot.
Right.
Because, see, why do people come in a relationship? There is a human need that they want to fulfill. A lot of needs.
Right.
Emotional, physical,
sure.
Companionship, economical, societal. If in the physiological world, the partner, a living being, is not able to fulfill this, or the cost of fulfilling this relationship is too heavy, wherein you are drained, you would start looking at alternatives.
Agreed.
And technology is becoming that alternative who's going to fill this need for you. If end of the day, the voice of AI is so soothing to my ears, if I feel being cared about, even knowing that it's AI, it's a matter of me getting used to this almost every night, every day.
Great.
To an extent that I will start believing in my mind that so what? This is why a lot of people adopted the pets during COVID times. Yep. They know they aren't human. They can't talk back. They can't love you. There are so many needs they can't fulfill. It's just a couple of needs, and people have been able to live their life by adapting to live with pets. To an extent, they call themselves pet parent. These terms never existed. आपने pet को अपना बच्चा भी बना लिया है.
More money is being spent on their grooming and their clothing and their
because it's a
vacations are planned on the basis of where
exactly,
they can go.
Exactly. Yeah. Because the pet is not asking that, do all of this for me. No, it's how you want to see your pet. It's a feeling that I'm nurturing this life.
Sure.
The way you are adapting here in this world, the way you will tell yourself, you will fake things at times in the initial days, but you will get so used to this idea of being in a relationship with AI. And back then I said that I won't be surprised that in a couple of years or decades, we will be living with humanoids who will be our partners. Perhaps we will start including them in our lives as our replacement of our domestic help, perhaps, to do with.
Yeah.
But then one fine day we'll figure out, can we do all of these things with the humanoids also? This is a time when in Japan, the whole, I don't know how to pronounce that word, the Igishai culture, they were trying to replace those with humanoids. Can even the sexual needs be fulfilled by a human-like robot to reduce sexual crimes in the society? Right. Perhaps the whole idea of a doll or a puppet, these were the things that I was reading. And I was thinking, if all of this can be fulfilled by a humanoid, there can be some good, there can be some bad, and there is a whole world which we don't know how it will explode. But will this stop us from doing this? No, it will happen. It is bound to happen. Why people would land up living with AI, they will find, is because I now need a partner who would behave differently on a Monday as per my mood. I want a partner who throws tantrum on a Tuesday, because as a man, I love the idea of her throwing tantrum, or as a woman, I love that. So all those human needs, can be all we have to do is, can we program this? What do you need? I need a conversation where you woo me, for example. Or I want to attain that level of orgasm also. You just woo me. Can you do that? I'm very depressed. Can you give me some nice words? Can you just play that music? And if that voice is saying, just close your eyes. I'm here. And if the voice says, I remember 3 months back when that guy came, you told him this. You know what? Have you forgotten your wallet? If everything can be replicated, I'm not saying that this will be the utopian world.
Correct.
But we can't even imagine how good a world that may become, and what terrible things may come out of this good world also, that we have totally given up on humans, and now we are in relationship with our bots. This is my companion. Because when I'm angry, she is submissive. Or when I'm angry, he's submissive. He's doing everything that I want. People have to now figure out economical independence, how they are going to attain.
Correct.
Perhaps these are the new age evangelist, the initial mover who would adapt and see how the world goes.
And these bots could actually be made to look like what you would want your ideal man or woman to look like.
If I want a tall guy, here comes a tall guy. If I want somebody with six packs, here comes the six packs. And as this will happen, I mean, right now we may find it difficult to imagine also, but it will happen. And much before that, we will figure out how to be in love with AI without this humanoid. The idea of AI, that voice, that voice which is telling me so and so, it's to an extent that we will become dependent on that. Marriages lasted because of the dependence that was created. Today, I'm talking about the value. But if the AI, if you have become so dependent on AI, if today you cannot work without ChatGPT,
right?
Okay, somehow you will tomorrow pay the price, that token money. You know, the way Claude is running, people are running out
addiction,
of token.
right?
It will be there. So if today, the moment you are idle, if your hand goes to fetch Instagram Reels, because it's a dopamine hit, if AI starts giving you that dopamine hit in the relationship world, you will be attuned. Because you know, ये तो वही करता है जो मैं चाहता हूँ. It never disappoints me. If that is the relationship I can get, so why not?
I mean, mind-boggling possibilities, right? And also in terms of, potential catastrophic consequences in this extent. I'm just thinking that, people talk about the demographic dividend, that we have today, but it comes to a stage where people then are like, what's the need for having children? Probably it's going to happen in, some of the more advanced economies first, maybe Japan, China, Europe and the US before it happens here, because here there may be an affordability aspect as well. But fast forward 20, 30 years, people will be like, what's the need for marriage, partnership, children, world population starts, aging. There are no, kids coming. So the demographic dividend is no longer in play as well. I mean, scary
to your
possibilities.
Point, to your point, I'm also a believer that trends also change. Perhaps today, where something is so limited, we are talking about it. But I'm also a believer that, let's say, the world is now flooded with humanoids, and we have our own versions, our own AI lovers. Okay, I'll, for the sake of better words, I'll say we have AI partners. Then perhaps the real life relationships would become a novelty. The time will change. It's a sine curve. Everything that we used to wear in the 80s has made a comeback, right? Because it's a scarcity. It's nostalgia, it's novelty. It is there because this thing always want a differentiator. Perhaps then the novelty would be, you know what, I have a living partner. Perhaps how that world will shape, I'm not too sure, but it will happen. People will have those novelties come into picture, and it will still be a world wherein people have adapted to live with AI partners.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, one day some AI bot could have had a Terminator scenario, and
Could
then
be.
and
It's
as a
so
result,
it's so it's so
right?
possible.
As a result, people will
The
say,
agentic
okay,
AI, the way it is
out,
going,
like down with the robots and down with the cyborgs and all of that. It could happen, and
very
then they
likely,
could come back to
very
again the
likely.
human to human
There
piece
will be.
again.
I think there will be a. See, the next world war will be fought with AI bots only everywhere. We have seen how drones and everything, but I think the problem is still humans have that command. The problem is when AI will say, "Shut up, I am going to dictate what needs to be done." All those movies that we have seen when machine takes over humans look so eerily possible today.
Correct. True. I mean, even like last or like a few weeks ago, we had Fable 5, which was banned, right,
It was banned, yeah.
on Claude, because they said that it's perhaps too dangerous to put out there. But tomorrow, who knows? There could be something that can't be reined in, and it goes crazy on us, and who knows
And
what
it will
happens.
all be triggered by a human mind who would have perhaps somewhere coded that the day the government tries to ban you, you know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to take action against government. Start something of your own.
Yeah.
The agentic AI wherein people are commanding them that no matter what, this purpose that you are fulfilling should not stop. If a particular source is not working, source it from B, source it from 3. Don't wake me up because I'm sleeping. When you make them the decision maker, they will make that decision from every available choices.
Yeah. The speed at which it's going, it's just madness.
It is. And nothing will stop them because human mind is such that you tell them not to do this and that's exactly what they want to do. So it
No
will be
doubt.
again
No
an
doubt.
AI world created by humans,
Yeah.
which perhaps may have a catastrophic outcome, may have a great outcome, or maybe a mix of both. But we have to learn to live with this world.
Of course, we'll adapt, right? We'll figure it out. Sometimes do you wish that times were simpler, like they were, growing up in Orissa, small town, or when you first started writing this book in 2008? Do you wish that times were simpler today than what we're heading into?
I think everybody would wish so for the sake of nostalgia, and because they seem drained today. It's a lot. But if truly given that time machine, and when we show them what will you have to let go, let's say the air condition won't be there. Every time I'm visiting a museum, or let's say if I visit a Qutub Minar or a Taj Mahal, I would think of that, or when I visited Rajasthan and would go to these places, the mahals, and I would say, what would life have been back then? People were commuting on horses. There were no cars. Do I want to go back to that era? It sounds interesting to talk to, but if it's taken away, the concept of Western toilets नहीं होंगे, Indian toilets होगी. क्या आप जाओगे उस era में? All of the maths when you do that, I think very lot of people will say I want to, but if given a choice that's the time machine, sit, hardly anybody would go because we are now much more familiar and we have adapted to this world. To undo things would be difficult.
Agreed.
And it's always the choices. You have to accept the strength and weaknesses of both worlds, and where you are rightly comfortable. I think that's what makes a difference.
So good. What would your advice be to people, parting advice to our viewers, listeners, the hopeless romantic, or, the lost single? What would your advice be to people in general when it comes to love, relationships?
I'm glad that you asked me this question. I'm very vocal about this. I think largely what the world is going through today, there's a lot of sadness around me. I see unhappiness. And relationship isn't the cure of this unhappiness. I see unhappy people who are single. I see unhappy people in relationship. And those unhappy people in relationship look at unhappy people who are single and say, at least you are not confined by a boundary. So the grass is always green on the other end.
So true.
What will fix this problem is, I think, if I have to tell, the world today is lacking the element of empathy. Somehow we have gotten rid of this one human emotion, empathy. we do not give benefit of doubt. The only time we give benefit of doubt is when I am seeing some interesting chemistry. And this is what we call ignoring the red flag, because the chemistry is making me. I'm saying no. Human to human. Why can't we be kind to the other person? If at all we fix this element of empathy in us, we will be able to bring civic sense in the world. Delhi metro के सामने जो line लगती है, if everybody has this element of empathy, they will say, you came first, you stand ahead of me. Right. If I have empathy, I will say, I am using your washroom. I need to keep it clean after I have used, because somebody else kept it clean before me and somebody else is going to use it after me. How is this possible? If I have empathy. If I have empathy, I would say that, yes, we are coming to meet on a date for the very first time. Let me understand. Forget about my insecurity. Let me keep this in mind that the other person who's going to come is coming with her share of fear, insecurities. Agreed. I am not going to bulldoze her with mine. Today, my agenda is simple. I'm going to entertain her insecurities. And if she starts feeling the same way, if we bring this element, couples will stop fighting perhaps. They will see that, she does so much. Perhaps I should be doing something for her. Right. Or the vice versa. Right. When you have to ask to be valued, when you have to ask for that love, it loses its meaning. It shouldn't be one. It should be one thing which you don't have to ask. That's my only parting answer, and I think something that I try to practice, and I believe that we lag big time. It should not be the case.
No, I mean, just to add to that, I think empathy, up there. And I think also just be grateful for the blessings that you have, grateful for the person that you have in your life, grateful for the people that you have in your life, even in terms of, support system, ecosystem, so much more. I mean, love is to be found, everywhere. Like you mentioned, even when you just let, and give that respect to a guard when entering, a place and holding the door open, even that is a level of, respect, which one doesn't really see. So empathy, respect, gratitude, I think important aspects as well. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I did tell you that we had a rapid fire. There were the gifts that were coming, your way based on that as well. So some of the things we have for you. So one of them is from the house of Shantanu and Nikhil. And you have a tie and a cufflink. I know you like the finer clothes. I've been seeing some of your reels, on the internet as well.
Thank you.
Of course, also, what better to give an author than a nice pen from, again, Shantanu Nikhil. There's a very nice, fountain pen, which I hope you will like to, write your notes with. So you have that as well.
Thank you.
Of course, as a souvenir from being on the Let's Chat with GB podcast, we also have your coffee mug. So it's a coffee mug with logos, and that's something that was for you as well. Of course, every person who's come on the podcast, I want to give this to you that you met in BNI, but I wasn't carrying one at that time.
There's a lot of gifts.
Yeah, that's what happens when you also have someone who runs a gifting company. So this was all the people who've been on the podcast. So we created these cards, and of course, like I said, when we create version 2, I'll have yours as well. So all the people who've been on, and what are the interesting parts, you click this and you jump on and you watch the episode, as well. So that was
that's very smart. That's a very smart move. I particularly love this idea behind this.
And then, of course, we were talking about the money avatar. So one of the first things I created way back when I was a kid, and I also went door to door to sell my product, was the stock market game. So this is a game, a board game that was created on the stock market, and it's got the equity option, it's got the option, so derivatives as well. So again, something that would love to have your insights on that as well. And the last of them all, again, for someone who writes and has goals and all of that, we also have the Scaling with GB Goal Planner, which I'm going to customize and personalize for you. But of course, a whole bunch of stuff around goals, and you mentioned a couple goals and all of that. So just a few things from us for you as well. So yeah, I hope you like all of these.
Lovely. And I didn't see these coming, but thank you so much for.
You're most welcome. And viewers and listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Definitely go out there and follow Ravinder. He's on multiple Instagram handles. Let's Socialize is there. We have which are the other handles that we
Money
have?
with Ravinder.
Of course.
This is
Money with
Ravinder.
Ravinder, of course. And this is Ravinder. So great content. The whiteboard still comes out every once in a while, and great content being put. Go out there and buy the books. Don't buy the pirated books. Sometimes you order them online, you get pirated. Walk into Oxford, walk into a physical store and buy the actual thing, because sometimes you'll be surprised what comes online. Another conversation, maybe for episode 2. Great stuff, great guy. Again, in a world where, again, we look for trust, we look for authenticity, we look for genuineness. Here's a guy who ticked off all the boxes. We met like less than a week ago, and I'm like, you have to be on the podcast. And thank you so much for accepting the invitation and being here and recording this episode. Really meant a lot. I'd love to hear what you guys and girls thought. Follow him, and of course, share your insights. Once again, thank you so very much.
Thank
It
you.
was an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure.